guess just like any other tattoo studio in the world, in our studio, Modern Electric, we have a lot of conversations that centre around tattooing itself, the culture, how it's changing, where it's going, and the various threats, that happen from society, economic pressures, AI, technology, all that sort of stuff. And I found myself sitting there because I guess I'm the guy with the grey beard in the room. Everybody presumes that you're the wise old Gandalf and that you're going to have some sort of insight that's going to make everybody feel better about what's going on. I've found myself telling the guys stories and anecdotes from other industries that I've worked in, where the death of the industry in question had been prophesised a million times. I guess rock and roll is a great example. I think it's probably been declared dead about 5 times in my life, and it's still alive and well. And I feel exactly the same way about tattooing. But as I was telling the guys these anecdotes and these stories from my wise Gandalf-esque perch in the studio, I thought to myself I should write about this because maybe this would be useful for the readers of Total Tattoo magazine. I mean, it certainly worked on my previous podcast, that tattoo show, because it was mentioned by a bunch of the purple-handed preachers, which was our pet name for the people who listened to that show. I mean, certainly the things that those guys would say to me about my, wise perspective on various topics over the 4 years that we did that show was that where I come from in terms of what I'm thinking and how I approach these challenges and the various problems that we have in tattooing made them at least look at the situation a little differently. And, I guess see it in a different light. I'm not saying I'm right or wrong. I just got a different point of view, And if you were one of them and you're still listening to this show, then I appreciate you sticking around and following me over here. So what you're about to listen to is another one of those Lost Dog episodes that I was telling you about that I want to republish so that you can listen to it, because I think the things that I was talking about 6 months ago are probably exactly the same on people's minds. I'm hoping that my thoughts on the subject of the tattoo apocalypse and the end of tattooing might help steady your nerves and make you feel a little bit better about things. And so what you're about to listen to is a thing that I filmed and put up on the channel, and it somehow got lost in the shuffle, and so I'm going to represent it to you here as a piece of audio. It's based on a column that I wrote called Apocalypse Deja Vu, and I hope it will give you some perspective and help steady your nerves and make you feel a bit more hopeful and confident for the future. Enjoy. I'll see you next time. We've all heard it. Everyone's yelling, it's over. Blogs, podcasts, Insta celebs, TikTok prophets, all with the same chorus. It's the end of tattooing. Yeah, it's cute and everything, but I've heard this song before. These days, outrage is a business model. Panic performs. The feed rewards whoever shouts loudest, not whoever thinks the clearest. So your brain gets farmed for clicks, and suddenly normal industry cycles feel like Armageddon. So let's just zoom out for a second, because during its history, tattooing has faced down threats that make today's comment section blues look trivial by comparison. Legal bans and moral panic saw whole cities and even countries banning tattooing for years. But the craft survived, went underground and came back sharper. Health scares and regulation waves have come and gone, and each one forced better hygiene, better inks, better standards. Everyone complained, but the pros adapted and pretenders quit. Most recently, we faced recessions and lockdowns, and clients paused, but artists evolved, booked smarter, tightened their processes, and built direct relationships. This isn't the apocalypse, it's just another molt. From coils to rotaries, needle bars to cartridges, disposable workflows, wired to wireless. During every revolution, people cried, "Tradition is dead!" And every time the best artists just made the new tools sing the same old song. So what is new here exactly then? Well, it's certainly not the threat. What makes this feel new is the volume knob. Social media amplifies fear, and collective stupidity drains out critical thinking. Social proof turns one loud opinion into 10,000 nervous DMs. But that doesn't make it true. It just makes it viral. In the early 2000s, tattooing hit the TV for the first time, and it exploded. And a huge part of tattooing's popularity today is thanks to those TV years. But unfortunately, so are many of tattooing's problems. And it wasn't just us. Around the same time, the custom motorbike scene got the same treatment. Shows like the Great Biker Build-Off made rock stars out of grease monkeys. Shops blew up overnight. The money rolled in and everybody wanted a piece. And during this time, Orange County Choppers built an empire worth between 12 million and 500 million, depending on who you ask. But the spotlight was blinding for a lot of people. When the cameras left, the hype collapsed, fortunes vanished, and what was left? Well, actually what was left was a scene that was refined. You see, the builders who stayed honed their craft, and the bikes being built today are some of the best that have ever been built. They're leaner, smarter, and even truer to the art form that is custom motorcycles. You just don't hear about those guys unless you're part of that scene. The music scene has suffered from a similar problem that we're having now. When studios went from analog tape to digital recorders, the industry screamed collapse. Jobs vanished and record stores closed. But music didn't. It reshaped and it redefined who would thrive in the new version of the music industry. And photography too. When darkrooms gave way to pixels, entire careers disappeared overnight. But did photography die? No, it exploded. It grew bigger because it was more accessible. But here's the truth of our industry's experience and the experience of those industries. Digital tools put power in everybody's hands. But not everybody's hands can make art. Software gave us thousands of bedroom producers, and digital cameras turned everyone into a photographer. And for a while, the technology and the hype drowns out the difference. Amateurs got clicks. But eventually, the dust settles. Music lovers can hear the soul of a record made by somebody who bled for it. And photography lovers started to see the depth of an image that can't be faked with any auto this or auto that. And as far as I'm concerned, tattooing is currently standing in the middle of that storm. The tools, the platforms, the way that people discover us, they're all changing. And right now, amateurs are flooding in, chasing followers and hype. But just like music, and just like photography, eventually the noise burns out. And when it does, what's left? Well, it's the same as always. It's the true believers that came here because they love the art and the craft. It's not ending, it's mutating. We're just the next chapter in a very old story. I want you to take a second and ask yourself, is tattooing collapsing in the real world or on my phone? Is it collapsing in your books, in your city, or just in your feed? And if it's only collapsing in your feed and the panic feels loud, who benefits from it? You've got to remember that panic sells for some people. If you're in the business of selling courses on marketing and how to make the algorithm work for you, then you've got a vested interest in creating a panic, haven't you? The louder you can make the fear, the easier it is to sell the cure. If you're wondering, all you've got to do is follow the incentive trail and you'll probably stumble over the truth. And then ask yourself another question. Will any of this matter in 12 months? Because most of what social media is currently screaming about won't even survive its own hype cycle. And then ask yourself, how long will it be before the current crop of TikTok tattoo superstars move on to the next big thing or the next big hype? 6 months? 12 months? 2 weeks? You see, the simple truth is that most panics or hype cycles don't last as long as our art does. Now you might be sitting there thinking, well, hang on a minute. All of this is affecting me, Paul, and is there anything I can do about it? And the answer, thankfully, is yeah. Right now, your first move is simple, and that's to make work that can't be copied. Do it slow and do it by hand. Make your own art from scratch. The trend chasers, the flash rippers, the ones who scrape Google images or use Procreate stamps and call it original art, they'll never touch this. And by doing these things, you make your artwork too much hassle to copy. And if you're doing everything by hand, you're doing something that's difficult to automate. You're doing something that's difficult to scale. And these are the things that put off the copycats, because they're looking for things that can be scaled easily and copied easily. You also need to own your route to clients. If your business lives on Instagram, you're operating in a burning building. So build your own place. And that's your own email list, your own website, your own newsletter. And then when chaos hits, you still hold the connection to your clients. And you're not at the mercy of your landlord who decides that you've got to post 15 reels a day just to get 1% of your audience to see it. If you build your own audience with an email list and drive them all to your website, you're in charge. When it does come to posting, think about deepening trust and not noise. You don't want to be part of that billboard of static that everybody has to doom scroll through. So post less, but make it count. Show your process, show your craft, show people who you are. This is what we call brand building in the trade, or a brand story if you like. But your story is just yours. It's just how you do what you do and what you love and why you love doing it. So start sharing that with people. Don't rely on bots and auto replies and any automation when it comes to replying to your clients. They want a personal reply from a human being, and treat them like human beings. Treat them like they're important and scarce, because at the moment they are. To escape from the panic merchants that populate your feed, you need to get out into a thing called the real world. Go and do some guest spots, do some conventions, have a shop open day and invite people to come and take a look around. Get involved in some charity flash events. The internet can't cancel a handshake, and people buy people, not Instagram accounts. And finally, choose community over clout. Tattooing has always been a small, close-knit community. So swap days with artists you respect, share notes and build a local scene that survives longer than any algorithm or trending hashtag. Make real connections with your clients and other artists. And before you know it, you'll be having conversations like this in real life with people just like me. I think the tattooists have probably been screaming that the sky is falling and that everything's all over since the dawn of electric tattooing, if I'm honest with you. You know, I know that I can go through my own collection of magazines and find exactly the same conversations happening in the 80s. Friends of mine will tell me that they can do that in the 1880s. So I think since we picked up electric tattoo machines, we've maybe been a little bit reactionary as a set of people. Every generation thinks it's the last, right? And yeah, for sure, the tools, the platforms and the hype cycles, that all is changing and it feels chaotic, but chaos doesn't equal collapse, right? So the next time you're tempted to go into your feed or get involved in one of those online forum debates about the death of tattooing, I guess, do yourself a favour. Take a breath before you do that. Is the panic real? Is it in the real world or is it on your phone? And if it's on your phone, who's benefiting from the panic? Historically, tattooists have survived by being the kind of people that can think their way out of a problem. You know, rather than just following the mob with the burning pitchforks and all that sort of nonsense. I mean, I think tattooists have always been maverick kind of people that won't take no for an answer, you know? And they're certainly not going to give up just because somebody tells them that it's all over. They're far too passionate about what they're doing for that. And I think where we find ourselves at the moment is that the outrage economy wants reactive artists, but the actual art form itself needs reflective artists. And I think if we want to survive the current chaotic situation, we've got to understand a couple of things. We need to focus on our craft and not social media or internet clout. And of course, understand that hype fades, but mastery doesn't. So do yourself a favour, take a breath, tune out the noise, and think about what it takes to thrive in this situation. Who are the people that will succeed and survive? Well, they're the ones that are just going to show up to work every day and just keep doing it. They're the ones that sharpen their skills in silence. They make art and not headlines. They're the ones that understand that the craft is simply mutating again, as it has done countless times over the last 150 years. And when the TikTok chorus are all yelling that it's over, well, we'll be the ones that, as ever, are sitting in our booths with our machines tuned and our minds quiet, building the next chapter.